when my first one was going to college, like through the summer, I was like, oh my gosh, my kids are grown up. The oldest is going to college. This is a whole new like era for me. There's nowhere to go but down. Like I'm getting older. Like I'm just going to continue to decline. Like it was really weighed heavy on me. I'm at the point now because now I have two out. And it's still like, I talk about it and it's true. Like I still miss them when they're gone and it's sad to see them leave. And I'm thinking about, wow, what's that going to be like when AJ's out? But I can also see the positives of my husband and I, have been working our tails off. We have like our nest egg. We're in a good spot financially. And now we're going to have the freedom. We're healthy and we're going to have the freedom to really focus on ourselves and our
Yep.
relationship, and if we want to travel and like cultivating friendships and like all the things that when you're in the prime, like when you're 20 something, you're doing stupid stuff still. And then when you hit into your 30s, a lot of us were moms, so we're raising kids, so all of our needs get on hold, and now we're at this place where we can a lot of us can at least more afford the things that we like to do, and we have more time for it, and we're circling back to being able to live our life and not just a life for our kids. It's pretty remarkable.
Yes, I would agree. And I think that you're right in that we are more likely to take time for ourselves.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn. I'm Dr. Brooke.
And I'm Dr. Lynn.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us again today.
Yeah. So listen, we're we're going to say what everybody's thinking when you get to this phase of life, and we're going to talk about it, but it's really not talked about that often. So we're going to get it out in the open. We're going to talk some constructive life advice around it, and we're going to all feel better after this conversation.
That's great. Did you actually say what it is
No,
we're talking
I didn't.
about?
It's all about how at this age we may be grappling with our age and knowing that I don't even like saying this, that we may have more time behind us than we have in front of us.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's got to be at least on
It's
most of our minds.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's basically, let's word it simpler. We're grappling with our mortality.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
And not something we most of us give any thought to when we're in younger years, especially like teens. We think we're invincible. Like we never even doesn't
enter our
cross
brains.
our minds more now.
Yeah, because we're getting people that are getting sick or passing, and or people that we know whose parents are passing, and it's then you're sort of like next in line, in that row of shark's teeth. when a row drops out, there's another row right behind it.
Jeez, that's terrible.
I don't know where he came up with that, but yeah, just you never thought that like when your parents pass away, it's sort of like then you kind of step up to the diving board.
That's terrible. Okay, guys, stay tuned because I promise it's going to get better. You're basically like, next.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean when I say we don't talk about this. I don't think I've ever had this conversation with anybody, not even my husband.
Really?
I mean, have you?
I'm sure I have because it's like one of my biggest fears.
Oh, well, it's going to happen.
I mean, the only like thing we know for sure about life is none of us are making it out alive.
So I can't believe you and I are having this conversation because we're both sort of like superstitious and we don't like to speak about things. And
yeah,
so let's keep it on the positive.
I was going to say, I don't want to talk about like dying, but I just think talking about like from a real perspective, as we get older, we know like we have less days ahead of us in front. And the truth be told, that could be like that at any time of life. But it's the likelihood of it being now. So I think it's more a conversation of like, how can we approach this from a really healthy and good place? And how can we make the most of the time we have now? Like
which is
finding the happiness in that, grappling with that topic.
Which is our, favorite thing to talk about. So yeah, I think the gift at this age is that we do have that urgency of time. So a part of that, in getting older and you feeling it, they always say when you're in your childbearing years, you feel the clock ticking, sort of off in the distance, that those awareness, that perspective that life is short and fleeting, sort of circles back around. And that is in of itself a blessing, because it prompts you to do things, to try things, to not say no to things that you actually could enrich your life. So, I mean, I think that's the first thing that I have, is there's some benefit to that. Like,
Right.
there's a benefit to being where we sit today at this age.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can look at it again, we talk a lot about reframing. You could look at it as a blessing or a curse. But the blessing of that really truly is that you do see time is finite and you want to live your best life.
Yeah.
Leave a mark and do the thing and
Yeah.
be
Which
happy.
is
How
ironic.
are you happy in the midst of knowing that? What do you
Right.
do to see it as a positive, not a negative?
Right. So that's actually ironic, because the Gallup world poll conducted by, it says, Gallup and the Brookings Institution. And this was done probably 10 years ago. These researchers looked at average life satisfaction,
Okay.
and they looked at when it was highest and lowest. What would you say for when
Life
it's
satisfaction when it's
when it's
highest and lowest.
lowest? What would you say? Let's start there.
Um, I would say mid 50s through 60s.
Oh, try again. I'll give you one more try.
40s.
Yeah, much earlier. Well, I mean, not much earlier, but it's basically average life satisfaction is lowest among middle-aged people. And that's technically 40 to 50.
Lowest?
Yeah, it actually peaks around 47 or 48.
Oh, I thought you asked me what was the best,
No, the
the worst. Oh
lowest.
yeah, I wouldn't have said, and then I wouldn't have said my answer. But anyway,
Okay.
I sound like I'm just trying to prove myself right, but really I heard it wrong. Doesn't
Sure,
matter.
Brooke, sure.
But you're right. Um, I feel like I could get on board with that. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
And when we were taking that hike down the hill in New Hampshire, which was when the genesis of Life After Kids came about, when we were sort of feeling the beginnings of our Life After Kids, or getting preemptive about it.
Right.
I was about 47.
Yeah.
Right? You were a little younger, but
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, so that holds true for me. As far as the highest, I think we know your answer. Highest average life satisfaction.
Yeah, what did I say? Mid 50s to
So
60s.
from that dip at 47, 48, it steadily goes up throughout the 60s. And then, of course, health issues can take over. And I don't know that they polled people in their 70s or 80s. I have a feeling, though, that if you're healthy, it would continue to increase.
I would think. I mean, I think it probably does decrease because just so many people are not healthy, and so they can't live the life the way they want to. But I would agree with you. If we focus more on our health and we hit 70s, 80s, and we still felt really good and good enough to do what we want to do and be active,
Yeah,
that it would probably continue to go up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just at the start of my 50s, but if you're listening and you're in your 60s and you're like, hell yeah, like life just keeps getting better. Because I know that there's a lot of people who have said that to me, and I love that. I cling on to that. I hold on to that thought. And honestly, I do believe you get to determine a lot of your own outcome and attitude. And I believe I'm really hopeful, knock on wood, that I'm going to set it up that way, so that the 50s just keep getting better, and the 60s even more, so that we do in fact prove that we have so much to look forward to.
I feel it. Like I went through, and I've shared this, but I went through, like, when my first one was going to college, like through the summer, I was like, oh my gosh, my kids are grown up. The oldest is going to college. This is a whole new like era for me. There's nowhere to go but down. Like I'm getting older. Like I'm just going to continue to decline. Like it was really weighed heavy on me. I'm at the point now, because now I have two out. And it's still like, I talk about it and it's true. Like I still miss them when they're gone, and it's sad to see them leave. And I'm thinking about, wow, what's that going to be like when AJ's out? But I can also see the positives of my husband and I, have been working our tails off. We have like our nest egg. We're in a good spot financially. And now we're going to have the freedom. We're healthy and we're going to have the freedom to really focus on ourselves and our
Yep.
relationship. And if we want to travel and like cultivating friendships and like all the things that, when you're at the prime, like when you're 20 something, you're doing stupid stuff still. And then when you hit into your 30s, a lot of us were moms, so we're raising kids, so all of our needs get on hold. And now we're at this place where we can a lot of us can at least more afford the things that we like to do, and we have more time for it. And we're circling back to being able to live our life and not just a life for our kids. It's pretty remarkable.
Yes, I would agree. And I think that you're right in that we are more likely to take time for ourselves. But I also think, and we have more time,
Yep.
but we're also less likely to want to waste time doing things we don't want to do,
Mm.
which means we're doing more, even though we have more time, we're doing more of what we want to do and less of what we don't. Boom, right there. That's a recipe for happiness, don't you think?
Yes. Or at least we should be. I mean, probably a lot of us are still doing things we don't want to do just because
Oh, you'll always have to do
we
some
do.
things
We do.
don't want
And
to do.
some of us is like the guilt and feeling like you have whatever, you want to make someone else, whatever the case is. But I think for the most part, that is another gift that the older you get, the more you can let go of the things that aren't serving you. And the more you become aware of them, because you know that you only have time is limited. And when time is of the essence, you start to look and say, is that necessary? Or even bigger, is that going to bring me joy?
Right.
It's probably not that important then.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's really great. And that's another gift to that urgency,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we said. So I also think another one of the benefits are that our relationships become more important than ever,
Yes.
right? Because, and what I mean by that it's just because when we get to this age and we realize the fragility of the time situation and that it's limited, we also remember that what really matters at the end of the day is how much we love and how much we feel love, right? It's that's it.
Yeah.
That's it,
It's very
you
simple,
know?
but
Yeah. And in addition to giving of yourself to make a difference for others, but
yeah,
that's a way of showing love.
sure.
So it's a way of giving love.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it seems so simplified, but sometimes it's better to simplify than overcomplicate.
Mm, yeah. It's also maybe simple, but not necessarily easy to do.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. Um, so I think that, if you're listening to this and you think, wow, this has been on my brain too, and I'm grappling with this as well, I think one of the things that you can do is really just to lean in and enjoy all of the good things that you do have going for you right now. We just did an episode on loving the little things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm getting at. I think it's just, embracing um, the average Wednesday afternoon at your home, like really savoring the time with your family, and enjoying a beautiful mug of something warm, like simple, free things that we all know speak to like the beauty in life.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a case of, again, as with anything, is control the things you can control. Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's like a harsh reality, but none of us are getting out of this alive. So you can't control that. You can't control. I mean, I guess within some realm, because you can do some things that control your health, but like you can't. This is not in your control, and I think that's one of the reasons it's so hard for us to grapple with it, because we want to be in control of everything. At least I do. I like when I'm in the driver's seat. I like when I know what to expect, and we don't necessarily know that. So it's like, all right, well, if I can't control it, first of all, why put a lot of time and energy focusing on it? When we focus in on the things we can't control, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So continuing to think about it, and we're having this discussion, you could argue, well, then why are we even talking about this? But we also should bring light to it, because I know it's got to be on everyone's mind, at least
Yeah.
at some point in time. So then it's like, well, what can I control? And I think one of the one of the big things, I mean, some of the things you just mentioned for sure, like the little enjoyments, making the most of the days, obviously those things, yes. But like also, what are you doing for your physical health and longevity?
Yeah.
You know,
So I
what are
was
you
just getting to that because I think there's two camps. I think when you get to this place in life and you think, oh, well, life's short, eat the steak, drink the wine,
yeah.
eat the
It's like that
cake. There's that.
hedonistic.
Yep. And you can go all into that. And I know some people, by the way, they might have something figured out because I know a lot of people that do that. I mean, who live a very long and fruitful lives, and they're like, they have rich relationships, they don't track calories, but they don't deny themselves, but they do keep moving.
Yeah.
You don't see very many of them being like um so eating so much that they maybe like it slows them down
Yep.
a lot, physically. But I think the other camp then is to get so rigorous with your, but there again, you're probably trying to control it,
Yes.
so there's a fine line, there's a balance. But I do think that like there's quality and there's quantity of life, and we don't control the quantity, but we do have control over the quality. So if it does pay to put some time into those physical habits that are healthy and that have been proven to promote longevity, because you'll at least, for as long as you're here, you'll at least hopefully feel good,
Yes, it lends
and have
itself.
energy.
Sure. It lends itself to, when you do put a focus on your physical health, it lends itself to you having better quality of years, which is huge. I that was like, if that's all we said today for me, that was good, and it's a good reminder for me because it all. And we talk about this with our kids too, like in our time with them, like it's always should be quality over quantity. So, like, when you take on that perspective, if you really and truly own that and make that your focus, quality over quantity, then it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, my sole focus is to have a really good quality of life, whatever that means to you, whether that means make a difference or spending time with your loved ones or learning something new or leaving your mark, whatever it is. When you look at it that way, there's always time for that. It doesn't matter if like tomorrow's your day or the next day or whatever. Like there's always more. You could be 97 years old and there's still time for that.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So, also I think if you are interested in living a long, healthy life, you could study, you're grappling with it. A great place to put your those feelings of like controllessness
Yep.
is into healthy habits. Just maybe don't go to the extent where it causes you stress if you can't
Sure.
do that, because that's where I think the key is like managing, like not getting uptight about things.
Hmm.
Those are the people that you watch them and they, eat all the stuff, and they just don't get uptight, right? But when you do want to live longer and live healthier and feel good, it's good to study the centurions that are most successful,
Mm.
right? So if you don't know, I don't necessarily. Do you have anyone in your life who's over 100? You had one who was pretty close.
Mimi, she
Yeah.
died at 99 and
Wow.
she died in April and she would have been 100 in August.
Wow.
Hmm.
Huh.
Yep. And same with Mama, who was her mom, was 99.
So some good genes there.
Yeah, really good genes. Now you can make the case that their last like 5 to 8 years
Yeah.
were not the best, but also she was over 90.
Yeah. And she was blind.
Well, not until those last like 5 years.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Oh, I thought she was blind her whole life.
No, no, it's such an
Oh.
interesting thing because you tend to think about like what was right in front of you at the time. But I'm here to tell you, like Kenny and I joke to give you like put things into perspective because when we got married and we moved into our first home, she came down and stayed with us for a week. So that was what, 20, how 23 years
2002.
ago. So
Mm-hmm.
she would have been pushing 80. And she came down and
God
stayed
bless
for a
her.
week, and Ken was in Mexico for work. And I remember specifically I had somebody coming to put blinds in, like shutters on the windows, and I would walk into a room and she was lifting furniture. She was lifting up my couch, not the whole couch, but like lifting an end of the couch and moving it, picking my mattress. I was like, and I kept going, "Would you stop? What are you doing?" Like, and at the time, it never even read. I never even thought about her being just about 80 years old. I would have never even, because she was so active. She was in a bowling league. She bowled once a week when she was at home. She always was getting her nails and her toes done. She was super active. She went on cruises. She did like she had lunch with her girlfriends. Like she was very active in her grandkids and then her great grandkids. So like she was living her life until like, the last couple years when her sight went. The sight
Okay.
went, and that was the problem, because then that's a tough.
Yeah, that makes it hard
Mm-hmm.
to move, which is one of my first pieces of advice here, which is successful centurions walk at least, they walk, right?
Yeah,
So you move a lot. Like this is another reminder. You don't necessarily need to be in the gym, but you need to be moving.
right.
And what we would say nowadays is 10,000 steps a day. Get a pedometer. We have not had our 10,000 steps very well in the past couple of days because we've been sitting
Lots
a
of
lot
sitting.
taping. And you can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel like the lowered energy in your body from all the sitting.
Yeah. The best thing I ever did was and I'll link the pedometer, but get that walking pad and get a standing desk, because I work at
Mm,
home and I'm on the computer so much more than I've ever been since I'm not seeing patients,
yeah.
and I feel it in my spine. So, and we're not designed to sit. I worked with a doctor once that said sitting, and you probably heard this, but sitting is to the spine like sugar is to the teeth,
Yeah.
and it's so true.
Sitting
Like,
is the new smoking.
yeah, yep,
Yep. Also build lean muscle. And we've talked on other podcasts specifically about that, like that topic, but it's a very hot topic right now. It's being covered all over in excess, but it's something we've been saying for years.
right.
Really, you have to focus on building muscle, maintaining muscle, stretching your muscle. Use it, you lose it. Do you know watching something the other day, but talking about longevity and age, the three most important organs as you age, like the ones you basically will determine your more longevity. Like if they're bad, you're not sticking around, kind of thing. What would you say they are?
3.
Yep,
I'd say spine, heart, and brain.
heart and brain are right. Number 1 and 2. Number 3?
Liver.
No, it's your thighs. It's
Oh
not even an organ.
no, I'm in trouble.
But the reason being, and Simon Sinek covered this, it's because your thighs are what carry you next door to your neighbor's house.
Aw.
And the people that live the longest, Harvard, the people that are the happiest, but also living the longest, are the ones that are socially networked.
Yeah,
Yep. And they keep you, we know this, men and women who are married live longer.
right.
Actually, men live longer with wives.
So that's not real. That's like a metaphor.
No, I mean, he cited some research, but obviously thighs aren't, I guess, musculoskeletal system.
Yeah,
If we were
because
talking
why
about
wouldn't it be your
organ
feet?
system.
Because your feet are what really take you over there.
Yeah, you're right. But if you look at, it's something to do specifically with your thighs, your quad muscles. So forgive me for not,
No, that's okay.
citing this exactly, but, um, and I recently saw a video of Dick Van Dyke. Is he alive? Someone said he'd passed. I don't remember him passing, but if he's alive, he's got to be 100. Let me Google this.
Do you ever play the little game that Kenny and I do where we're like, we see someone on our TV, or for some reason it comes to mind, and we're like, play the guessing game of how old they are? And then you Google it to see how old they are. And then you're like, whoa, we are old.
Okay, so Dick Van Dyke is still alive, and that's someone tried to tell me he was passed, and I was so sad because the video was him at 99 years of age, and he was on a like a hip sled.
You're kidding.
No,
Amazing.
yeah. So I mean, I'm
So
sure he
is he
wasn't.
100 then?
Well, he's 99. His birthday's in December 1925.
Wow, God bless him. So he's coming up on 100. That's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't
Well,
that great?
it's back to that success leaves clues, right? So,
Yes. Yep. So follow in the footsteps of people who've gone before you and are doing it well.
right.
Yep.
I love that. What else you got?
I think you can I don't know. I think you can dwell on the good or the bad here in that situation. And I think there's a tendency, I mean, it's normal to think about it all. Um, I think if there's something on your mind or something in your heart that kind of keeps you anxious, like you haven't dealt with, now's the time. I think that's kind of stepping outside of the scope of this conversation. But I've been just thinking about that for myself lately, and sort of squaring things away and just making sure you've got all your emotional work done so that you can just be a great example and live your life.
Yeah, that's kind of where I my head is a little bit too, because it's like enough of dealing with the stuff that just is an energy suck that doesn't belong there. Whether it's like emotional things that you kept in a box that you didn't want to deal with, or like just when you're sometimes you're just in survival mode. Not that life is bad, because we have great lives, but like sometimes you're just, no, I don't even want to say getting by, but it's like also like you just get to a point, I think, and that's another blessing of this phase of life, because we are getting older. It's like it's not like it's time to let go of all that and
Hmm.
deal with your junk if you have
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
so that you can really
Soar,
yeah, I know.
right?
I
Let
think
go to rise.
it's like that conversation that I had with my brother where he's like, look at what you've been able to do and achieve in your life. Imagine if you were playing with a full deck, but like for real, because most of us have some stuff that we haven't dealt with or addressed, or I would think so anyway, or like things, not even if it's stuff that we need to deal with or address, but even just things we need to let go of. Maybe that's just something as other people's opinions. Maybe you need to forgive somebody, like whatever that looks like for
You're
you,
right.
that's taking up mental space and emotional baggage that's creating
And
stress or
energy.
causing you to live a less than life. Now is the time.
I like that. I like that. I think again that's a gift of this age, and I think one more is that sort of this kind of is more obvious, but we're also more motivated at this phase, I think, to make major life changes because the time is limited. And if
Yeah.
it's something that you've been wanting to do, just do it already. Just do it already, you know? Um,
No
even
time like
if
the present.
no time like the present, but that's actually pretty cool because you hear people like they picked up and they moved here and or they changed jobs and now they're doing this. I mean, that's a luxury. Not everybody gets to do that. But um but man, if it's something that you've been wanting to do and you just I'll get around to that, I'll get around to that, I'll get around to that. Like we're here to tell you like the time is now. Like get around to it now.
Do it.
This is the best time for you to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be so happy when you do.
Right. Right. Because nobody wants to look back, and you don't ever want to leave things with a what if,
Mm,
you know?
yeah, that's tragic.
Yep. And that's where risks come into play too. We talk about that a lot as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing. But again, what's right is we've been saying this has been like our motto through
Hmm.
these recordings. What's wrong is always available, but so is what is right.
That's right. Yeah. So to recap, benefits are time is fleeting, and that's the pro, that's the con, but it's also the pro. Like because
Yes.
now we sense the the urgency, so we can actually act from that place. We're less likely to waste time doing things we don't want to do. Man, I love that.
Yes.
Our relationships become even more important than ever. It's all about our the love that we give and the love that we get, and we're
And
starting to tune into that and really figure that out.
and by the way, we want real relationship, right? We don't want the
Yeah.
maybe like just gossipy catty type relationships anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's just a stand in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to lean in and enjoy the things like we're enough of the seriousness and enough of the you know, oh, got to put my time in and yes, you need to do some things to take care of yourself, but you also get to lean in and enjoy those good times because
Yes.
knowing that they're not always going to be this good.
Right.
Right. So enjoy them now.
Right.
And live like you're going to live to 115. Adopt the habits of your most successful aging role models that you have in your life.
So good.
Walk 10,000 steps every day, build lean muscle, de-stress.
Huge.
Yeah. That comes from previous episodes. I think you can tack that on to learning to let go of others' opinions of yourself.
I mean,
right?
There's so many that leads you
the
to this
de-stress
point of
comes from working to get your finances in order so you don't have to be awake at night worrying about that. But like we pray for you, our prayer for you, our hope for you is that some of these stars are beginning to align in these decades, and that you can be in a place where you get to like look around and think, yeah, this life is pretty great, and
yeah,
it's only getting better.
Right. And by the way, worrying about it, especially in this case, is not going to change it. Like, so are you going to choose to worry about it and dwell on it and be miserable about it? Or are you going to get busy living?
Let's get busy living.
Let's all get busy living.
Maybe that's our new tagline. Get busy living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do it.
Just do it.
Well, that was Michael Jordan. So but do it is from something too. It's like an Adam Sandler movie.
Do it. Yeah.
Anyway, getting off on a tangent.
You
Ladies,
would know the Adam Sandler reference.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Make sure you're following us on all the feeds, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The website is www.lifeafterkids.com if you want our free resources for living a more meaningful life now that your kids are grown, and to see the blog, which will also be useful in that vein. And if you prefer to watch us over listen, we are over on YouTube. I hope you have a great day and an even better week.
All right, get busy living.